Yo, I don't want to hear you guys say nothing about my. I don't know what happened, bro. It's so. I messed up my mustache pretty bad. At least my skin's smooth. All right. Anyways, we're gonna go back to. We're doing Eat Jesus Aura Farming Part 2. We're just gonna keep. I read like for like an hour this morning in the book of Luke, bro. I kept going. So let's just get right into it. So the 12 apostles, him and the 12 apostles, they go up to this mountain, go and pray, praying with God. You know what I mean? And then they come down the mountain, uh, and he stood on a plain like with his disciples, and like all people from Judea, from Jerusalem, from the seaside towns of Tyre, Sidon, all these people came to pull up to see this guy cure the sick because they're like, "There's no way this is happening, dude." Imagine when we don't have internet, right? Like, imagine we don't have internet, and you're just like, "Yo," like you live in Florida, right? And you're like, "Yo, there's some dude in Miami that's just like, I don't know, he just like he casted demons out, like people, like spirits were fleeing out of bodies, like he literally told a paraplegic to get up and the person stood, like you're just hearing this chatters and everybody's like, hold on, let me go check out for myself what the hell is going on, right? And people didn't have money these days. People didn't have, like, you know what I mean? They travel from far and wide to get here, and so they pull up, right? And so those disturbed by evil spirits were healed. Everyone was trying to touch him. So much energy surging from him. So many people healed. Like imagine how much aura you have to have. You just stand there. People are getting healed just from you. People are trying to touch you. Like, it's like the closest thing we had to this was Michael Jackson, but like Michael Jackson wasn't like a healing. You could say he healed people through his music. I'm not. I will in no way, shape, or form compare Michael Jackson to Jesus. But I mean, in terms of like the popularity, in terms of like that kind of like that starstruck, right? Like that. People are like. I mean, obviously, okay. That's a terrible comparison. Like, sorry. Like, anyways. So Jesus says to them, "You are blessed when you've lost it all. God's kingdom is there for the finding. Count your Oh, and by the way, I'm in. If you guys want to follow along, I'm in Luke chapter 6, verse 22 right now. Yeah, count yourself blessed every time someone cuts you down or throws you out. Every time someone smears or blackens your name to discredit me, what it means is that the truth is too close for comfort and that the person is uncomfortable. You can be glad when that happens. Skip like a lamb if you like. For even though you don't like it, I do, and all of heaven applauds." Like, hey, for sure, like, when you start having a relationship with God, you start noticing how weird people are with that. You know what I mean? Not in the sense, like, obviously people are going to be aggravated if you're just like trying to like force your religion on them, and not really force your beliefs on them, force your higher power on them. Like, people are going to be upset about that because they're like, dude, I'm giving you grace to do what you're doing. Like, give me like, people are going to be upset. But it's more so you start seeing people upset when you just start talking about God, like, as in like about yourself, like, oh, like, yeah, I've been just trying to build a better relationship with God, and like I feel so blessed. Like, all these things are coming to my life, like, or even the aura that you radiate from being, you know, found by God, or as you sacrifice, like, if you give your way of life to God, like that, the aura that you get from that, the energy you get from it, you could see people getting repelled by it. You start to see people getting like just agitated from your existence, right? And so we continue. And so he says, Jesus tells these people, give away your life. And it's trouble ahead if you're satisfied with yourself. So it's satisfied if you, it's trouble ahead if you're satisfied with yourself. Yourself will not satisfy you for long. Bro, he's always dropping dime bags. Like, look, okay, no, he's not dropping dime bags. Like, gosh, I'm so bad. Like, he's saying, if you're satisfied with yourself, trouble's ahead, because yourself, he changes it from yourself. He changes it into a noun. Yourself, like the flesh will not satisfy you for long. And we see that today. You know what I mean? Back when I was talking about like pleasurable lifestyles, right? Like, it's weird. Like, we're pushing towards like, in a sense, we're pushing towards sexual liberation, which is like, in a way, it's like, people should be able to explore themselves and like, and and that type of stuff. But then in another sense of that, we're starting to see people experience the repercussions of that lifestyle, and the repercussions of like of like we've done undemonized weed and like legalized it to the point where like people, it's the most normalized thing. And for when you say it's bad, people are like, nah. The damn, the weed is like people, people are like, it's not that bad, it's not that bad, it's not that bad, and like, you know, but you're just satisfying the flesh. The food we eat satisfying the flesh, and like all these things, what do they lead to? You satisfy the flesh, but your spirit hurts. You know what I mean? And so, anyways, we keep going on. And he says this. He's still talking to the disciples. He's still talking and the people that in the crowd. He says, "There's trouble ahead when you live only for the approval of others, saying what flatters them, doing what indulges them. Popularity contests are not truth contests. Look how many scoundrel preachers were approved by your ancestors. Your task is to be true, not popular." Oh, bro, he's dropping bombs, or he drops bombs for like this whole chapter 6. He's just kind of cooking. He then says this: "To who you are ready for the truth, I say this: love your enemies. Let them bring out the best in you, not the worst. When someone gives you a hard time, respond with supple moves of prayer for that person. If someone slaps you in the face, stand there and take it. If someone grabs your shirt, gift wrap your best coat and make a present out of it. If someone takes unfair advantage of you, use the occasion to practice the servant life. No more payback, live generously." Okay. Okay. I see where you're going. And then he says this: "Here is a simple a rule of thumb for behavior. Ask yourself what you want people to do for you, and then grab the initiative and do it for them." Classic, Treat others how you would how you would want to be treated, right? And he says this: "If you only love the lovable, do you expect a pat on the back?" And we get back to this. We kind of hit on this like in an earlier in an earlier part with Pharisees, when the Pharisees were kind of cooking him for like, "Oh, you're sitting at, you're eating, with a tax collector, like you're eating with like a sinner," and he's kind of like, what did he say? He said, when the Pharisees and the scholars said, what is he doing eating and drinking with misfits and sinners? And Jesus said, "Who needs a doctor, the healthy or the sick?" Right? Right? And that's related back to this point, which is, if you only love the lovable, do you expect that like loving the lovable is the easiest thing ever? It's loving the hateful. You know what I mean? And so yeah, we just continue on. He just says like, don't condemn those that are done. I just like highlighted all this part because it's just really a lot of good lessons. Now this is good. It's easy to see a smudge on your neighbor's face and be oblivious to the ugly sneer on your own. Do you have the nerve to say, "Let me wash your face for you," when your own face is distorted by contempt? Anyways, so yeah, he just kind of keeps cooking. He keeps cooking, and we get on to chapter 7, right? And he's like going into he goes back to Capernaum, and this Roman captain is like has this Roman captain has a servant on the, like one of his servants is on the deathbed, and he like really loves his servant. The servant's a great great person, and like he really values this, right? And so the Roman sends his like people to go talk to he sends his friends to go talk to Jesus and ask Jesus to come heal the servant. So he says, this is what his message to Jesus was: "Master, you don't have to go to all this trouble. I'm not that good of a person." Oh wait. Sorry. Go back. So when he heard that Jesus was back in Capernaum, he sent his leaders from the Jewish community, asking him to come heal. They came to Jesus and urged him to do it, saying, "He deserves this. He loves our people. He even built our meeting place," right? And so Jesus went with them. And when he was still kind of far from the house, the captain went to go send some more friends to tell him, Master, you don't have to go to all this trouble. Notice how this Roman captain that's never met Jesus is saying, Master. Notice that. Master, you don't have to go to all this trouble. I'm not that good of a person, you know. I'd be embarrassed for you to come to my house, even embarrassed for you to come to you in person. Just give the order and my servant will get well. I'm a man under orders. I also give orders. I tell one soldier go and he goes. Another come and he comes. My slave do this and he does it. And so taken aback, Jesus addresses the accompanying crowd and he says this. I've yet to come across this kind of simple trust anywhere in Israel, the very people who are supposed to know about God and how he works. When the messengers got back home, they found the servant was up and well. So this is what this is saying is you know, well, first of all, the Roman captain had a lot of humility. He was at fault a little bit, you know what I mean? Because we all feel this. We're all saying, like, a lot of us feel too scared to even like show ourselves to God or to walk towards God because we feel like we're too filthy, we're sinners. We need to get clean and polished up before we go and meet with God, right? And so that's why he's like, I'd be embarrassed for you to come to my house and even embarrassed for you to come in person. Like I would be so embarrassed for you to come here. Like I'm not that good of a person. I'm a sinner, right? And so that's faulty thinking, you know. That's the devil telling you lies. That's the devil filling your mind with shame because we come to Jesus and God however we want. And I was stuck in that for a while. I want to get up to here by myself before I came to him, but that's actually like worse because I'm saying like I can do this by myself without you, and then I'll come to you when I'm ready. But it's like no, like I need to come to you while I'm filthy, and you'll wash me clean, right? You'll wash my feet. And so the other part about that is when Jesus says, "I've yet to come across this kind of simple trust anywhere in Israel," because the people of Israel are supposed to know God the most. But what he's been seeing since he's been preaching and healing is all these people come up to him in person and they're like heal me and they're like heal me right now like I'm you know they come in person to be healed, but the Roman captain knew him to be the master and the Son of Man and knew that all he had to like that Jesus is powerful. And he trusted that Jesus, he didn't even need to see Jesus. He trusted that this was Jesus Christ. He trusted that this was Son of Man, the Son of God, and he trusted that this person could heal his servant without even being there. And so what did Jesus do? He healed his servant, bro. He could heal anyone from anywhere. He could do whatever he wants. He's Jesus Christ. So, anyways, we continue on. So he goes into this village called Nain, and there was this large crowd, and a woman's only son was being carried out for burial, you know, and the mother was a widow too, so she no son, no child, and now no husband, right? And so Jesus' heart broke when he saw this, and he said, "Don't cry." Then he went over and touched the coffin. The pallbearers stopped, and he said, "Listen to how much aura, dude." He says this, "Young man, I tell you, get up." The dead son sat up and began talking. Jesus presented him to his mother. Yo, he can make the freaking dead come to life, bro. He can resurrect people. Yo, what? They all realized they were in a place of holy mystery, that God was at work among them. They were quietly worshipful and then noisily grateful, calling out among themselves. And this is what they said. God is back, looking to the needs of the people. The news of Jesus spread throughout the whole country. Right? So then, John the Baptizer's people and disciples pull up to Jesus, right? And John the Baptizer sent two disciples to Jesus to ask, "Are you the one we've been expecting, or are we still waiting?" Right? Because he's hearing news of this chatter. This guy's healing people. This guy's freaking, you know, causing fish to appear. You know, this guy is just he's you know forgiving people's sins. Like, you know, and so the men showed up before Jesus and said, "John the Baptizer sent us to ask you, are you the one we've been expecting, or are we still waiting? Are you the one we're looking for?" And they in the next 2 to 3 hours. So You guys have to understand how insane this is. Like, really, just think about this. Like, I know people don't believe in this stuff, and like, but just for the sake of this video and for the sake of this, like this exercise, just I believe this is real, like for sure. But really, like, I don't. This is not like some like story. This is a story, but like this he actually did these things, right? But if you don't believe, just imagine seeing this. Imagine how insane this would be. So they're like, "Yo, are you the guy we've been looking for? Like, are you him?" Jesus says nothing. He says not a single word. And in the next 2 to 3 hours, Jesus healed many from diseases, distress, and evil spirits. To many of the blind, he gave the gift of sight. And then he gave his answer. They ask him, "Are you the guy?" He goes and heals people for 3 hours, freaking gets rid of spirits, heals the blind. And then he says, "Go back and tell John what you have just seen and heard." He doesn't even say whether he is or not the guy. But what he did is undeniably something that the guy would do. So he's like, "Go tell John what you just saw." The blind see, the lame walk, lepers are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, the wretched of earth have God's salvation and hospitality extended to them. Is this what you were expecting? Then count yourselves fortunate. Is this what you wanted? Well, you're fortunate because I'm here, baby. And let me finish out this chapter. We'll be done, bro. I'm sorry. It's just so hype. It's just so hype. So after the messengers left, Jesus like turns to the crowd. And he's kind of like, "What did you expect when you saw him in the wild?" He's talking about in reference to when John was baptizing them in the Jordan, next to the Jordan River, right? "A weekend camper? Hardly. What then? A sheik in silk pajamas? Not in the wilderness, not by a long shot. What then? A messenger from God? That's right, a messenger. Probably the great." Listen to this. He's calling John the Baptist, probably the greatest messenger you'll ever hear. He is the messenger Malachi announced when he wrote, right? Malachi wrote that this was going to happen, and John pulled up. He's part of the prophecy, right? I'm sending my messengers on ahead to make the road smooth for you. That's what Malachi said, right? And John is one of those messengers. And then Jesus says, "All right, enough with all this chatter. Let me lay it out in layman's terms. No one in history surpasses John the Baptizer, but in the kingdom he prepared for you, the lowliest person is ahead of him." Think about that for a second. The ordinary and the disreputable people who heard John by being baptized by him into the kingdom are the clearest evidence. The Pharisees and religious officials would have nothing to do with such a baptism, wouldn't think of giving up their place in line to their inferiors. John the Baptizer came fasting and you called him crazy. The Son of Man came feasting and you called him a boozer. Opinion polls don't count for much, do they? The proof of the pudding is in the eating. And that's what he was talking about. He's saying to the Pharisees and scholars. Because his point here is like, John, yes, he's the greatest messenger of all time. But the ordinary person, if they repent, and they are the lowest of the low within heaven, they are higher than John will ever be. You know what I mean? And so this is like clear evidence of his goodness, right? Because that's why he makes them great. Because the Pharisees and the scholars, they like to preach and they like to, they're theologists that come with ego, right? And they would never give up their spot in line to heaven to people who they would deem inferior. But John and Jesus view no one to be inferior, right? And that's why at the end he says, like, he's just like, be wary of these Pharisees because, they called John crazy. They called me a boozer. They were mad at me for partying and drinking and celebrating with the tax man and the sinners. Like, they're mad at me for that. Like, they're mad at the Holy One. They're mad at us trying to preach to the sinners. Why would I preach? Why would I love the lovable? That's the easiest thing of all time. You know what I mean? And so you got to think about that. And so the Pharisee. This is last. I think this is the last. Yeah. So a Pharisee. This is this is really shows what is a Pharisee. Like this is just shows their how disgusting they are. So a Pharisee invites him over for a meal. And so he goes to the house and he sits down, and this woman, this harlot, so that just means like a prostitute, having that learned that Jesus was a guest in the home of the Pharisee, came with a bottle of very expensive perfume and stood at his feet, weeping, raining tears on his feet, letting down her hair. She dried his feet, kissed them, and anointed them with the perfume. So he's got this, bro. He's got this, harlot kissing his feet. Jesus got, and kneeling down to him. And the Pharisee who invited him saw this and said to himself, if this man was the prophet I thought he was, he would have known what kind of woman this is who is falling over him. So he's like, if you're this holy one, you would know how disgusting this woman is, and you wouldn't even let her touch you. That's his thinking. That's what he thinks. That is what the Pharisee thinks holiness is, and that's what the Pharisee thinks what God would do. It's the messed up thing. And Jesus said to him, Simon, I have something to tell you. Oh, tell me? And that's what. Two men were in debt to a banker. This is where, bro, he just starts dropping bangers. Two men in debt were in debt to a banker. 500 silver pieces and the other 50. Neither of them could pay up, and so the banker canceled both debts. Which of the two would be more grateful? Simon answered, I suppose the one who was forgiven the most. So the person with the 530 piece, the 500 silver piece debt, right? And Jesus said, that's right. Then turning to the woman, he turns to the woman, but still speaks to Simon. He said, do you see this woman? I came to your home. You provided no water for my feet, but she rained tears on my feet and dried them with her hair. You gave me no greeting, but from the time I arrived, she hasn't quit kissing my feet. You provided nothing for freshening up, but she has soothed my feet with her perfume. Impressive, isn't it? She was forgiven many, many sins, and so she is very, very grateful. If the forgiveness is minimal, the gratitude is minimal. Then he spoke to her, I forgive your sins. Then that set the dinner guests talking behind his back. Who does he think he is, forgiving sins? He ignored them and said to the woman, your faith has saved you. Go in peace. Like, his point of saying this is like, the most sinful person, if they repent and if they're forgiven, is going to be far grateful for them than someone that, like, either doesn't believe they're sinning or kind of sins and doesn't want to repent. Like, it was really like, he was trying to say, like, why would I not love this woman here? She's a harlot. Exactly. She, as above, so below. As above, so below. If you reach hell, you can, and you know what it feels like to suffer, then you know what it can feel like to prosper. And they're so mad at this. They're mad at him not belittling a harlot and not turning his back to evil when they're far more evil than him, because they're just bathing in the sin of pride. And then he's like, who does he think he is, forgiving sins? Even though they literally watched him make a paraplegic stand. They watched him, raise someone from the dead. Like, they've watched him heal and cast demons out of people. They clearly know this person is the Son of Man. But they deny it and they get mad at it because he is what they wish they were. And there is jealousy. And because they refuse to surrender and to understand that he is the truth, they will continue to suffer. And when they are faced with the horn, and they are faced with God in their face, he's gonna be like, why did you treat my son so badly? Why did you not go with my son? Right? Like, I showed you the truth and you chose to deny it. And so when they go on judgment day, they're gonna get messed up. Anyways, yeah, bro, he's cooking. We're going to continue to see what he does, bro. We're going to continue to see what he does. I mean, I read way further than that. I read like 3 more pages than that, but I want to stop there. I think it's a good stopping point. But bro, he's cooking. They call him bro. I love Jesus. Anyways. I love you guys. Guys, girls, gays, queers, they, them, these are. Anyway, everyone have a blessed rest of your Wednesday. I'll catch you guys on a Thursday. And I'm about to watch the Lakers game, bro. Hopefully the Lakers don't get cooked and LeBron doesn't retire, but we'll see. Love you guys.